Welcome to Gold Derby. We're here to break down how Emmy voting works. Now, Joyce, there are a lot of moving parts involved, different number of slots every year.
There are submissions and now a restricted ballot. So many things.
I can't wait to get into all of this, truly. But first things first, the Emmy eligibility period. Joyce, it is not the calendar year. People trip up on this, I feel like.
Correct. Unlike many award shows that use a calendar year eligibility period, the Emmys do not. The Emmy eligibility period runs from June 1st to May 31st every year.
Now, to me, that makes it more fun because it's not the same shows up against each other all the time.
Exactly.
So the nominations process, it starts with the submissions, right? Do I have this right?
Yeah. So before voting even begins, contenders need to be submitted to appear on the ballot in a specific category. So if it's not on the ballot, you cannot vote for it. Tough luck. There's no write-in. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to write in all my faves.
I know you do, but you can't. You got to go by the ballot. So,
Okay.
like if a performer was submitted in lead, you cannot vote for them in supporting or guest, even if you think they belong in one of the other categories, you know? And writing, directing, guest acting, and below the line hopefuls, they also have to submit an episode from the season that reflects their best work. So when you look at the ballots when they're released, you'll see a specific episode next to their names.
It's always fun to see who submitted what and who messed up, Joyce, there's a lot of people who messed this up.
A lot of people mess this up. It's submissions is an art.
I know there's also rules that affect the submissions. Do I have that right, Joyce?
Yeah, so every year the TV Academy tweaks certain rules and they usually impact the submissions. So some recent rule changes were last year's establishment of the screen time minimum for a guest performance, which is a 5% of the submitted episode. In my house, we call that the John Bernthal rule. You understand, you get it.
I do, because he was nominated for an episode of The Bear, Joyce. There he appeared for 2 seconds.
Great stuff there. And then another one 2 years ago was a reversal to allow documentaries that submitted for the Oscars but were not nominated to be eligible at the Emmys. You follow?
I love a double dip. It's great. I love that. So what are the other changes this year?
So there are 2 changes this year. So the first modifies the guest performer eligibility. So in general, performers are eligible in guest if they appear in less than 50% of a season. But this new rule now states that if the performer has been nominated for or won in a lead or supporting category, that person cannot submit in guest in subsequent years for playing the same role on the same series. For example, Meryl Streep only appeared in 3 episodes of the 10 of season 4 of Only Murders in the Building. But because she was nominated last year in supporting for the show, she cannot submit in guest this year. So, and there's no qualification requirements for supporting or lead. You can only max out of guests, and then it's up to you to go supporting or lead after that. The second new rule affects the directors or directing team. So they can now enter multiple submissions per category if they're for different shows, which is fair.
I do love that. I think that's
yeah. So like previously, directors were only allowed to submit 1 entry per category. So now they can submit an episode from each show they directed per category.
Now, Joyce, another unique thing about the Emmys that I know everyone loves is the number of slots in most of the categories. They can change.
Do they love it?
Year.
Do they love it?
Look, for the purposes of this, I think they love it. So how exactly does that work, the changing categories? Because it's great. I love not knowing how many people will be nominated in a certain category.
Mm-hmm. It makes it more fun that way too, right? Yeah. And then it's more heartbreaking too if they lose a slot. But basically, since 2020, Best Comedy Series and Best Drama Series have been set at 8 slots. So those never change. And that same year, the TV Academy adopted the proportional rule for all the other categories. So that means the number of slots per category is determined by the number of submissions. Mm-hmm. So the breakdown is 20 to 80 submissions, you get 5 nominees.
I'm going to start writing these down. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm going to write this down.
81 to 160 submissions, you get 6 nominees. 161 to 240 submissions, you get 7 nominees. And 241 or more submissions, you get 8 nominees. So that's generally, what happens to most of the categories. They're within that range. And then for acting categories across the same genre and designation, like Best Drama Actor and Best Drama Actress, they will have the same number of slots to achieve parity, and you round up if it's like split between 2 levels. And then you might be wondering, what if there are fewer than 20 submissions per category? Well, if there are 0 to 7 submissions. The submissions will be screened by the peer group, and then any entry up to 2 that receives 70% of approval will get a nomination. And then for categories of 8 to 19 submissions, that number of submissions will be divided by 4 and rounded to the nearest whole number to determine the number of slots. You'll never do this because you hate math.
You lost me at proportional, but all that sounded great. I'm sure people watching.
What were you writing down then?
We've seen, Joyce, how slots have fluctuated in the past few years. Last year, some acting categories lost a spot because of the strikes and a lack of shows to submit. So now it's time to vote. What's the process like?
So all active members of the 26,000 plus TV Academy are eligible to vote in all the program categories except for animated and documentary/nonfiction programs. And peer groups vote in peer group categories. So actors vote for actors, directors vote for directors, writers vote for writers, etc.
For a while there was an unlimited ballot for voting, Joyce. Not anymore.
Yeah. Yes, true story. So from 2017 to 2022, there was the unlimited ballot. So that meant voters were able to check off as many selections in a category as they wish. And, over the years, that resulted in the strongest shows dominating a category, like The White Lotus getting 5 supporting actresses for each of its first 2 seasons. So it became very top heavy. And then 2 years ago, the TV Academy put a cap in place. So now the ballot slots are capped at the number of nominations for that category as determined by the number of submissions. So if there are going to be 7 nominees in Best Drama Supporting Actor, you can only vote for 7 people max. So previously you could nominate like 23 people in the category and no one could stop you.
So I would just list, if it was me, like White Lotus, I would just go down the line. Craft services.
Yeah, you would
anybody
do,
on the show.
Everybody who's ever worked on season 3 of The White Lotus, you would have done that. Yeah.
Right. When does voting take place this year?
So this year, nominations voting runs from June 12th to June 23rd.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah. So on June 12th, the ballots are publicly released. That's another, fun aspect of the Emmys. We could see the ballots.
I love the ballots. It's great. I love looking through, seeing what photo choices people made.
Yeah, especially if they're like an actor is submitting in the same category and they use the same headshot.
It's the best. The ballots are fantastic.
And then some of them use different headshots. I love it. And then nominations will be announced July 15th.
And then after the nominations, what's next? I guess before, I'm all over the place. What's next before winner voting? Yes.
So after nominations, program and non-guest acting nominees have to submit an episode to represent their best work of the season. So performers choose 1 episode, except for limited leads who can submit the whole season. Comedies and dramas choose 6 episodes. Animated, doc, reality, variety choose 1. And children's choose 2. And limited series submit the whole season. The thinking behind this is that voters are supposed to watch the episode submissions on the TV Academy's streaming platform before voting. But who has the time?
Not great at math, but that sounds, just based on all the stuff you just said. Number 6, I heard 6 a lot. Sounds like there's a lot of episodes to go through.
Yeah, so that's a 96 episodes total just for comedy and drama series.
Not happening, Joyce.
Yeah.
Too many episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So when is final voting?
Final round voting this year is from August 18th to August 27th. And just like in the nominations round, all active voters can vote in the program categories, and all the other categories are restricted to peer group voting. And voters just choose 1 winner per category.
And then I'm going to get my SEO on here. When are the Emmys?
The Emmys, there are 3 ceremonies every year. This year, the 2 creative arts ceremonies will be on Saturday, September 6th and Sunday, September 7th. And the main ceremony, the one that everyone cares about, obviously, the primetime ceremony is on Sunday, September 14th on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Well, I can't wait to stream it live, Joyce. We'll be watching.
On Paramount Plus.
On Paramount Plus. Can't wait. Nate Bargatze, host. Can't wait, Joyce. That's going to be great.
Potential double nominee, Nate Bargatze. So
sure. This is great. So now I know everything about how Emmy voting works. I'm going to bookmark this video and then watch it again next year.
When the ballots come out, so you can figure out how many slots per category. All right.
I'm going to wait for a smarter person to do that, and I'll just follow.
You can't even count. That's your problem.
This is great. All right. Thanks, Joyce.